What is going on, my peeps? Your boy Versatile is back with another video. Hopefully you guys are enjoying your week. Today we are talking about Apple. Yes, why they are so expensive, why the trend will continue to go up, and what that means for Android as well, as we've seen with the Samsung Galaxy Note 9 and most likely the Google Pixel devices. The prices are going to be expensive. So, as we know, Apple last Wednesday, they launched or unveiled the iPhone XR, XS, and XS Max. Most people were speculating that the XR was going to be cheaper than $750, and we see it's not. What nobody was necessarily expecting, I don't think, though, was that the XS Max was going to be as expensive as $1,450 before taxes. Yes, $1,450 before taxes. Now, is there a reason why that these prices continue to surge upwards and why it feels like it's so soon? Well, yes, there's a couple factors. One, not so much dealing with Apple, another one dealing with Apple. So the first one we're going to tackle is the main reason why phone prices have continued to go up. And that is mainly because, I won't say mainly, but one of the big factors is due to phone financing. Yes, you heard it here. Prior to phone financing, we had contracts where phones were slightly discounted or subsidized, and you was on a 2-year contract. So the phone prices were still being, used to the fullest, you could say, as far as phones being bought, or a lot of money going into that phone price. Now we see with smartphone financing, you don't have to pay for the device anymore. So a lot of people no longer think about the price of the phone as much because they're no longer paying and actually buying the phone. Yes, back in 2015, CNET did an article, and I'll show you right here. And they did a 3-month observation between June and August of 2015. And in that period, they watched and saw the market and how people's spending habits were affected by smartphone financing, both with iPhone and Android. So, with the iPhones, customers who were going after the iPhones, over 51% of the people who went for iPhone during that time financed their phones. Over half. Now, again, we know that iPhone somewhat or basically sets the market for a lot of things, and because the prices are so much higher than Android phones alike, we see that over half of the customers finance their phone, which means between me and the person sitting next to me, at least one of us, financed that iPhone. It's pretty crazy, right? 37% of customers who were purchasing iPhones went the traditional contract route, which was a 2-year contract type deal. And then, of course, you had 12% of people who did prepaid. So most likely they either brought a phone over or they bought the phone. So you see there's a small amount of people that actually bought the iPhone during just 2015, just during that 3-month window. So of course you can extrapolate that data, and with today, now we have iPhone upgrade programs. Matter of fact, I talked to T-Mobile about it, and I asked them about their Apple upgrade program, and what they said was, you buy an iPhone, and of course, most places, specifically with T-Mobile, there's a down payment on the device. Since they are so expensive, they need some type of guarantee out of the device being purchased. So you have a down payment. With the XS, starts at like $279, I believe. The XS Max starts at $479, I believe. And then it could go as high as I think it was $779 or something like that. So it could go up there as far as just the down payment for the device. But let's just use the XS, the $279. So that's with the down payment on the phone. That's for the base storage you get, which I think is 64 gigs. And then you have the phone, and then after a year, of course you're paying monthly on it, I believe. You're paying a monthly, payment of like $30 a month, and after a year, you get a free courtesy upgrade, which means you don't pay any taxes. You get to upgrade your phone one time to the next phone, and it doesn't actually have to be an Apple device. So that's actually pretty neat. That's pretty cool. But we see within the last couple years alone, we've seen Apple upgrade programs just span across all carriers, and even Apple themselves adopting the Apple upgrade program. I think it's a little more expensive there, and seeing as a lot of Apple's money that they get is from carriers. Not a lot of people actually buy phones from the Apple website. It's actually pretty interesting. But as we see, just with that alone, 51% of people finance their phones. So you have to think from a business perspective, if people aren't really buying the full price or investing in the full price of the phone, how are they going to make their money? So it does kind of make sense as to why we see prices go up from that perspective. On Android's end, we see it was recorded that 46% of people who went after Android financed their phones. So we see, even though it's small, it's still less than half of people, the customers that was purchasing a phone actually financed it. 46% Android, 51% Apple, and then the numbers continue to be smaller than Apple from there because Android devices are somewhat I shouldn't say somewhat, are cheaper than Apple devices. Android has a lot of mid-range devices. A lot of people can just buy their phones outright and then, go prepaid, or like the phones are just so, because the phones are so cheap. I want to say if the phones are cheaper, especially when there's a wide range of mid-range phones that are available, not just at the carriers, but period. As we know, Samsung produces a lot of mid-rangers. And then, of course, 15% were traditional contracts, and then 39% were prepaid. So, again, we see the numbers. The number for the prepaid is bigger because people are able to buy their phones outright and or not have to worry about, financing the phone because they're so cheap. So that's one of the main reasons why. Now, outside of the Apple upgrade program, with T-Mobile specifically, I'm going to know a lot about T-Mobile because I'm a customer of T-Mobile. T-Mobile also has a jump on demand program where it's basically a leasing program. So you get a device tax-free, and if there's a down payment, you pay for the down payment. You pay on it monthly, and then in that year, you get at least 3 upgrades per year. I think it's 6. That part I didn't confirm is 3 to 6, but you get 3 to 6 upgrades per year, and then after 18 months or whatever, you definitely have to roll out of the phone into a new phone. But so you basically are leasing the phone. So you're never actually really paying the full price of the phone. I guess you will in 2 years, but most people probably upgrade year after year. When a new phone come out, they decide to upgrade. So just think, even if you upgraded 3 times a year, each device that you have during that year, you're barely paying on either device. So now the actual price of the phone is no longer a factor, as it is now the down payment for the phone for then people to lease and or finance. So that's one of the biggest factors as to why we see phone prices in general surge, but why Apple has no problem charging a hand and a foot for their devices, even if it's just an incremental update in the S in the S series of iPhones. One of the other reasons why you could say Apple feels like they can do what they can do in the market is because, in all honesty, and some Apple people may get mad, of course, but it's because you allow them to. Apple is not releasing the dongle, the lightning dongle to headphone jack converter or adapter in with the phones anymore, which means you have to spend extra money for that as well, on top of the increased phone prices. Apple has kind of showed that they don't really care about the customers, and that's because customers are just wired to just go and get the newest thing. So part of that is also the reason why Apple feels they can do what they want when it comes to their prices, and not a lot of people giving them much flack, because at the end of the day, people go out and get them. And I'm not talking about the small percentage of people that are famous or that's got a lot of money. I'm talking about everyday, regular, average citizens and customers you know, who have to seem like they have to resort to financing, but that's just because that's the way the market has gone for phones now. And phones are so trendy. That's probably why financing has become even bigger and more widespread, whether it's through a carrier or through a third-party system such as Affirm, or Google. The Google Store has financing. I believe Apple might have their own financing. Samsung has financing. There's the plethora of financing options. And depending on your credit, if you can even get it, but people seem to enjoy being able to swap out their phone real quick or not have to really come out of pocket, up front for their devices, and so financing is the way to go. So that's it for this video. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Hope you guys learned a little bit something. Maybe it'll calm down some of us when it comes to understanding the reason why. I mean, ultimately, in the grand scheme of things, it is absolutely absurd to be trying to charge at this point in the market $1,450 for a device that is seemingly just an incremental update, a couple, not even an inch, bigger in size, but it's just an incremental update to a device that doesn't have in-display fingerprint scanning or sensing. The Face ID is cool and whatnot, but it as we've heard, it could be better. I mean, there's a lot of things that's missing from a device that, if you think futuristically, a phone that costs $1,400, $1,500, or after taxes close to $2,000, this phone should be able to walk itself. So, it's absurd. But there's a reason why that a lot of this is starting to take place in the market. And unfortunately for us as customers, we suffer the blunt of the blow, because some of us actually would prefer to probably buy the device outright as opposed to having to finance it just to get a new device, whether our phones are broken, whether we haven't upgraded in a long time, or whether we just want to try out something new. We suffer at the hands of smartphone financing as a big culprit to smartphones increasing in price. But now, officially, that's it for this video. Your boy Versatile signing out. Be down in the comments below. Ignite that like button. Share this video if you haven't already. And just let me know your thoughts as to, how you feel about the market, phone pricing, what phones are you eyeballing, what's in your price range, what you appreciate about Apple or Android. I'll stay in the comments. And again, I definitely appreciate the support that you guys have been providing as of recently. It's really helped me to stay confident in making these videos, trying to do some research to try to get some answers to some questions that are heavy on our minds. So again, signing out. And until the next video, wait for it.